What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I am back with some more fighting. Before I get started with this video, I want to pay my respects and say rest in peace to Josh Saman. Very unfortunate, unexpected, untimely death. He slipped into a coma. He was found unconscious in his place, his residence, and later, I think a few days, he passed away. So rest in peace to mixed martial artist Josh Saman. Now, as far as this video, make sure you guys like the page and also subscribe to the channel. Right now I'm on Cormier's official verified Instagram account, and there's big news from UFC 206. And I gotta say, UFC, Dana White, they're closing their year very strong. They've had a very strong year in terms of their matchmaking, and this is just falling in line with that. UFC 205 is projected to possibly be the biggest card in UFC history, and then they're following it up with UFC 206 December 10th, and that is a title fight, light heavyweight championship, Daniel Cormier versus Rumble Johnson part 2. Very good fight. The first fight I enjoyed, and I'm definitely looking forward to the rematch. And Daniel Cormier said the 6 Destiny, laugh out loud, hashtag running through the 6, hashtag in steel, hashtag we are, aka hashtag down goes Rumble, hashtag again. So he's anxious. Just so you guys see, this is no fluke. I'm on Anthony Rumble Johnson, his social media, same thing. He posted the flyer, tickets go on sale October 20th, and he says, now you know, Rumble Squad, and then he lists his squad and his clique and stuff. And also on the UFC verified page, they retweeted Cormier defending my belt at UFC 206 in the 6, Destiny, laugh out loud. This is a phenomenal fight. Great way to close the year. November is jam-packed with fights, not only in the UFC but also in boxing, and then they're following it up with UFC 206. I really liked the first fight in this particular bout, and it was a good clash of styles. Obviously, Cormier being a very good wrestler. Anthony Rumble has phenomenal, unbelievable power, and he's on a 3-win streak. Most recently, he beat Glover Teixeira, and people thought that was going to be pretty competitive based on that style matchup, and he destroyed him. Just a vicious shot and got him out of there in the first round. So I really like where Anthony Rumble Johnson's head's at. I like Cormier for defending his belt in this situation, because I seen an interview where Cormier says, you know what will happen if we rematch. He was like on a satellite feed talking to Rumble Johnson, saying basically, I'll beat you again. You're a good fighter, but that's where the buck stops. When we're in that octagon, it is what it is. Anthony Rumble Johnson, after he knocked out Glover, he called out Daniel Cormier, or suggested that he wanted to fight him. And I didn't know. I didn't know if Cormier would want this type of fight. I actually felt really bad earlier this year for Cormier, who is set to fight John Jones. And because John Jones hasn't been able to get his shit together, he tested positive, and that card was scrapped. And he didn't get to fight that. And I know John Jones and Cormier clearly have bad blood, and that's an age-old grudge. So he was looking forward to seeing him inside of that cage, and he didn't get his opportunity because of John Jones and his like karma, or whatever you want to call it, his bad luck or bad decision making, whatever you want to call it. So I felt really bad. They did stick him in there with Anderson Silva, a legend, and it wasn't the best performance by Cormier, but you can't really blame him. It was a last-minute replacement, and Silva's not a guy you want to stand up with anyway. So Cormier kept it on the mat and did what he had to do to smother Silva. And Silva, he showed little signs of being the spider that we all knew from back in the day. In the last round, I think it was, it looked like he caught Cormier and hurt him a little bit. But the fight, when it was on the mat, I mean, it was on the ground. That wasn't a good position for Spider Silva, who took the fight on last minute notice, who had no training camp, who was coming off of some kind of, I think, a gallbladder surgery or some type of surgery. So it wasn't the strongest performance. But this fight, Cormier versus Johnson 2, I don't see how this won't be a barn burner. I think this is a good matchup, and it's hard because Cormier, he's really physically strong. Like physically, I think he lifted up John Jones or something. I've seen him do some things that, I mean, the dude is strong, like trying to move him. Physically, he's a tank, you know what I mean? And Anthony Rumble Johnson is strong as fuck when it comes to striking and power. Like just single shot, he can get you out of there. So Good fight. Obviously, we know who the better wrestler is, and we know who has more power in their strikes. So let's see what Rumble Johnson has learned. I like both guys, so may the best man win. Let me know what you think will happen when they step foot for a second time in that cage. UFC 206. Shout out to the UFC getting it done December 10th. And let me know what you think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.